Hello everybody, and welcome to me playing some video games. I'm Lutherian, and this is some Dragon Ball Xenoverse. If you couldn't tell by the title screen, the thumbnail, or the big dumb Namekian waving and doing Ginyu poses in front of your face. Alright, so it's been a while since I've done a video, so this is just going to be kind of like a quick review of the game overall and how I feel about it, just to kind of get me back in the swing of things. So here we go. Alright, first off, I kind of want to give like a quick impression of the game and how I feel about it, just in case you don't want to stick around for the whole thing, or you maybe get distracted and walk away. Either way, I think Dragon Ball is a great game. I would give it a 6.5 or a 7, which is a good score in my opinion for a game, because there's no such thing as a 10 in my book. So it goes like 7 is what I give the average game, and 8 is a fantastic game, 9 is just about as unheard of as a 10. Anyway, Dragon Ball probably falls around a 7, and the reason why is the gameplay is actually pretty fun. I was a little worried when it first came out because it looked a lot like the Battle of Z, and when I had played that game I wasn't really enthralled with the gameplay. But I think a lot of that fault fell on me because I was trying to think of that game as a fighting game, and had I done the same with this, I probably would not have liked it nearly as much. Dragon Ball Xenoverse, in my opinion, is more of an action RPG style game than a fighting game. And if you think of it as a fighting game, you might be a little disappointed because the combat is not complex. While not complex, though, it's still pretty fun. What it boils down to is there are two melee attack buttons, a light attack and a heavy attack. X on... these are all Xbox controller buttons because that's what I use when I play the PC version of the game. X is your light attack, Y is your heavy attack, B is your key moves, A is your jump / your instant transmission to get behind opponents when you are being comboed to death. And while these buttons are simple and you can use those, if you hold one of the R triggers, if you hold the R trigger, it will bring up a different list of moves for those face buttons. And furthermore, upon that, if you hold the R trigger and the L trigger at the same time, it will bring up another set of skills that you can use. And all these skills that are linked to the R trigger and the L trigger being pressed down are moves that you can set for the character as long as you're using your custom character. Or you can pick between one of the pre-made characters in the game, and you can look at a move list before you actually fight. So there's actually a lot of different setups that you can use. And on top of that, there's also different ways that you can spend your skill points throughout the game when you level your character up in different areas, such as maybe you want to increase the amount of health you have or the amount of ki you have that you can store up, stamina, attack, your basic attack, your attack supers, and your ki blast supers. All those can be increased, the power of them, or the amount of health you have, or the amount of ki or stamina. So there's a lot of different ways you could play the game, and like I said, while the combat is not as deep as maybe a fighting game would be, it is still fun to play, and there's still enough variety in the style of play that you can use to actually keep it fresh throughout. I've played for 35 hours or so, and I'm still not bored with actually playing the game. So, you know, that's always a good thing for a game to have, where you can spend 30 hours on it and not be bored of it. I also mentioned that you can set the skills for your created character. If you're watching the video right now, you can see that I'm actually playing as a Namekian that's, well, he's not a real character, though. Oh man, I wish he was, because he's pretty cool. Let me tell you why. I'm just kidding. He's not that cool, but you can make your own guy. You know, that's a big thing for a lot of people who have liked Dragon Ball since the childhood. They really wanted to make their own character. They wanted to make them. What if they were a Super Saiyan? This game allows you to do that almost. While the character creator is one of the big draws of the game, it is also kind of one of its flaws. There are customization options. There are options to make your character look different. Sadly, there's not enough of those options, though, because you either look like one of the characters already in the game, or you look like one of the characters someone else has already made. There's only a handful of different hairstyles, and that's one of the big things that you see in the game as you're looking at the back of the character for the majority of the time. And while this is really only even a minor issue for me, this might not be an issue for anybody else in particular. Because you still get to make your own character, and you still get to give them their own moves, and they get to be a unique character. Maybe not in terms of their entire look, but still how they play and how you play with them. And if you're playing single player, you know, still have that option to have a completely different looking character than every other character in the game. While we're on the topic of single player, I would like to touch up on that part of the game. While they managed to go back and change some of the ways the story plays out through the time travel and through the overall plot that you are a time patrol member, do not expect anything super deep with a plot that's, you know, a plot that's deeper than there's a bad guy and he's doing bad things. I mean, it's really all Dragon Ball's ever boiled down to. There's never really been an overall intricate plot, which is fine and all because it was really marketed towards children, and well, lo and behold, those children grew up and they still like Dragon Ball, so they don't really they kind of followed the trend there, and it's not a super deep story. And while it's there and it changes things up, it's still a nice thing that you can play through. So while the gameplay's fun, you're gonna run across a couple missions where you either hit a wall or you get frustrated. One of those missions being the mission where you have to fight Beerus and Wiz at the same time. This was the very first time where I ran into something where I just got stuck and could not get past. I was not the proper level, even though I had been doing the main storyline for the most part up until that point, and I had already done some of the parallel quests. I was still not the proper level. So I really needed to go back and do the parallel quests. I had to get 10 more levels before I was like the recommended level when I had read up online how to get past that part. There was some ways you could cheese it out, though, and get around it that way, but I'm not all about the cheesing. I don't really want to cheese through anything, so, you know, I just sucked it up, went through, did the parallel quests. So that's actually what I'm going to talk about next. Parallel quests are the bread and butter of the replayability in the game. This is where you get most of your customization options for your character after you create them. You get weapons, equipment, new moves, and things like that. And it's all, you know, they have a chance to drop whenever you beat enemies during the mission, or whenever you do certain things during the mission. While this is kind of annoying at times when you have to do the same mission like 15 times, really, a lot of the moves and stuff are not as good as other moves. So there's a set of moves that you really want to get. You might have looked it up online or seen somebody else had these moves, or maybe it's just your favorite character's moves and you want to have those in particular. You don't need to do every single quest 15 times to get all the stuff, unless you're just trying to be a completionist at the game and get everything in the game. Even then, doing some of the missions multiple times, not really that big of a deal. It's very fun, especially when you hop in there with a couple of your friends and you're doing just, you know, like maybe you're playing like an hour and a half with your buddies. You do like 16 missions. A lot of the times they go by really quick. There's only really a few of them that I've run across that take more than 5 minutes. And even then, that's usually if you're just under-leveled or something like that. There is one part of the game where I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time in, and that is the online PvP mode that is available in the game. They have just straight-up 1v1 battles, 2v2s, and 3v3s, and I also believe that they have a World Tournament mode that you can participate in or maybe watch. But I have not reached the max level in the game, which is level 80, and really, you probably need to be that level to find matches consistently. I've only done 2 matches so far, and they were both 1v1s, and I won one, lost one. I've heard there's some issues with online with spammers and people just not having very good connections, and it's hard to fight those people. but still, overall, the game is quite enjoyable, and I haven't even got to that part yet. So, if you're looking to buy Dragon Ball Xenoverse, 7 out of 10 in my book. Maybe play it before you buy it. Find a friend that has it, or maybe a Redbox or something like that. Really, just I would recommend playing it in some way, shape, or form because it's fun. That's really all it boils down to. The game's fun. I like it. I was very surprised. And that's it. My review's over. This is a quick review. I've been Lutherian. This was Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Catch you bitches later.